Hi 5th grade, today we're going to be doing Module 2, Lesson 8, and today we're going to be just doing the standard algorithm, and we're going to be using estimates to help us find our answers as well. So no area models today, just the standard algorithm finally. And we are nearing the end of our multiplication unit, so you also have that to look forward to. So let's go ahead and get started. You should have this sheet in front of you right now, and we're going to be starting on problem 1. So with problem 1, we are going to be multiplying 314 times 236. Now, a strategy that we can use to help us figure out if our answers make sense or not is we can get an estimate. And an estimate is kind of like a guess at to what our answer should be. But I don't want to just pick random numbers in my head and multiply them and think, okay, maybe that's going to be my answer. I want to take both of these numbers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to round these numbers to their largest place value and use that to help me find out about what my answers should be. So let's try this out. With my first number, I have 314. This is my first factor, and this first factor is going to go in this first space in the estimate section of my board. And you also have your own estimate section, so your first factor is going to be going right there. Now, this 314, what I'm going to do is I'm going to round 314 to the nearest hundreds place, because the hundreds place is the largest place value in this number. So when I round to the nearest hundreds place, I'm just going to, if you remember way back when, we'll underline the place value that we're rounding to. I'm going to circle this next number, and this next number tells me if I round up or down. Since it's only a 1, that means I'm going to round down, so I'm going to stay at 300. So my first factor is going to be 300. Now I'm going to look at this next factor, which is 236, and again, I'm going to round this factor as well. So I'm always going to round to the biggest place value, and in this case, that is still my hundreds place. I'll underline my hundreds place. I will circle the next digit. This is only a 3, so again, I will round down. Since I have 2 in my hundreds place, and it's rounding down, I will stay at 200. Then I'll write 200 in my second factor space. So now I have this little curvy equal looking sign because I'm saying that 314 times 236 is about, so we can think of this symbol as saying that this is about 300 times 200. And this is an easy problem that we should be able to solve. Remember, this is one of those problems I can just look at the digits that are not zeros. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then I'll add my zeros on. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it looks like my answer is going to be about 60,000. So my estimate is 60,000. So when I go to multiply with my standard algorithm, my answer isn't going to be exactly 60,000, but I will be close to that. So let's go ahead and start multiplying with our standard algorithm and see if we can get close to this number. So we're going to start with our ones place. Remember, this 2 and this 3 right now do not matter. So I'm going to kind of scooch you in closer so you can see this. So we're going to start with 6 times 4. 6 times 4 is 24. I will regroup the 2 and leave the 4. Then I do 6 times 1, which is 6. Remember, I have to add this 2, so that is 6 times 1, which is 6. Plus 2 is 8. I'm going to cross off that 2 because I used it. And then I do 6 times 3. 6 times 3 is 18, which gives me my first partial product of 1,884. Then we're going to move on to my tens place, so I have to make sure I add that placeholder, that's 0. And then I'm going to continue from here. 3 times 4 is 12. Regroup that 1, carry it up there, leave the 2. Then I do 3 times 1, which is 3, and then 3 plus 1, which is 4. Finally, I do 3 times 3, which is 9, and that leaves me with the second partial product of 9,420. Now finally I'll add on 2 zeros this time because I am multiplying a number in the hundreds place, so I need these 2 placeholders right here. And I will also make sure you cross off your numbers as you use them. Let's start. So we're going to do 2 times 4, which is 8, 2 times 1, which is 2, and 2 times 3, which is 6. I'm now going to add everything up. So I have 4 plus 0 plus 0, which is 4. 8 plus 2, which is 10, so I carry the 1, leave the 0. Then, when I have a bunch of numbers like this, what really helps is if I kind of bunch them up into facts that I do easily know. Like I can do 8 plus 8, I know that is 16. 16 plus 4 is 20, and 20 plus 1 is 21. So whenever you see a long line of numbers like this, you don't have to do it in order, like 2 plus 1 plus 9 plus 2. Bunch them up into factors that you do know, just to make it easier for yourself. So like right here, I could do 1 plus 9, which is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. 12 plus another 2 is 14. So I'll carry the 1, leave the 4, and then I have 1 plus 6, which is 7, which gives me my final answer of 74,104. Now, what this shows me, and what this estimate shows me, is that my answer and my estimate are pretty close to each other. Remember, this is not my answer, but it's going to show me, kind of give me what's called a ballpark. It gives me an idea of where my number should be at. It should be in the 10,000s. So if my answer was in the 100,000s or only the thousands, that kind of lets me know I'm in the wrong spot. So these estimates help us with our answers. All right, 5th grade. Let's move on to our next problem. Please make sure you have all of this filled out. And I'm going to erase this. I don't have an eraser. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this, and we'll work on our last problem together. So for our next problem, we have 1,882 times 296. Now these estimates help us with these really big numbers because we might not know what this is off the top of our heads, and doing all the multiplication is going to take us a while. So using these estimates will help us kind of get an idea where we're aiming for. So let's get started. Remember, when I go to find my estimates, I'm figuring out what this problem is about, what the answer is close to. So I'm going to take this number 1,882 and I'm going to round it to its largest place value. With this number, that would be my thousands place. So I'll underline the 1 in the thousands place. So that means it's either going to stay at 1,000 if it rounds down, or it's going to round up to 2,000 because I just add 1,000 if it does round up. Then I'm going to circle the next digit. This digit is an 8, and since 8 is greater than 5, we will be rounding up. Since we are rounding up, I will be rounding to 2,000. And then we're going to take a look at this number as well. So my next factor I need to work on is 296. My largest place value is this hundreds place. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle this 9 and think, is it going to stay at 200 or round up to 300s? So this is going to be rounding up to 300 because there is that 9 there, and 9 is greater than 5. So now I'm going to be multiplying 2,000 times 300. Again, we have that simple fact, 2 times 3. And I just need to add on my zeros now. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll put my 5 zeros on here. And this shows me that my answer is going to be close to 600,000. Remember, this is not exactly what my answer is going to be, but it lets me know that my answer is going to be in the 100,000s, not the 10,000s or the thousands or the millions. So let's set up our standard algorithm and solve this problem. So remember, your bigger number usually should be on top. So 1,882 times 296. We're going to start with our 1s. So we have 6 times 2. That is 12. I carry the 1, leave the 2. 6 times 8 is 48. And 48 plus 1 is 49. Regroup that 4, leave the 9. 6 times 8 again is 48, except now we're adding 4. So 48 plus 4 is 52. Regroup that 5, carry it up there, and leave the 2. And finally we have 6 times 1, which is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. So cross out that 5 and leave this 11 down here. Our first partial product should be 11,292. Now I need to move on to my tens place, so I need to make sure I have this placeholder here so that my answer can move on from the tens place. I'm going to start with 9 times 2, which is 18. Carry the 1, leave the 8. 9 times 8 is going to give me 80, just kidding. 9 times 8 is 72. 72 plus 1 is 73. Then I do 9 times 8 again, which again is 72. Then I have to add this 7, so that is 79. Then I do 9 times 1, which is 9, and 9 plus 7 is 16. Now this is looking like it's starting to make sense, and my answer is going to be 600,000 because I'm already getting partial products that are in the 100,000s. And that's another way that this can help us out. If my partial products don't look like they're eventually going to equal this, then maybe I know that something's going wrong. Like if you forget to add a 0, that might be, this might help you remember that you need to add those zeros. Now let's move on to our final place value, our 2 in the hundreds. I need my 2 placeholders, and then I'll start multiplying. So we have 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 8 is 16. Carry the 1, leave the 6. 2 times 8 again is 16, except I need to add 1, so that is 17. And then I do 2 times 1, which is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3, which gives me a second partial product of 376,400. Again, these partial products so far are making sense. It looks like they're going to be eventually all adding up to a number close to 600,000. We're using our number sense to help us out with this. Now our last step is to add everything up. So I have 2 plus 0 plus 0, which is 2. 9 plus 8 is 17. Carry the 1, leave the 7. Then this is another part where I don't have to add it all in the same order. I can kind of split it up, so I can do 2 plus 3, which is 5. 4 plus 1 is also 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. Carry the 1, leave the 0. For this part, I could do 1 plus 9, which is 10. 10 plus 6 is 16. 16 plus 1 is 17. Carry the 1, leave the 7. And then down here, I could do, we could do 6 plus 1 plus 1, which gives us 8, and 8 plus 7 is 15. Carry the 1, leave the 5, and finally, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 3 is 5. And that gets me my final answer of 557,072. This number is very close to 600,000, and the reason why I'm pretty confident in my answer is because it is so close to my estimate. Remember, your estimate is not your exact answer. It just gives you an idea of where your answer is going to be close to. So today, 5th grade, all you need to do is make sure you have all this in your notes. You're going to try the You Try problem on the back. It's exactly like the problems we just did. And then you'll be working on the problem sets, practicing estimating, and then just doing your standard algorithm. Awesome job today, and good luck.